Shalom. This week we are reading Parashat Tetzaveh, beginning with chapter 28 of the book of Exodus, Sefer Shemot. Parashat Tetzaveh is one of the central Torah portions in the teachings about the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple. And one of the foremost features of Parashat Tetzaveh is the whole concept of the Bigdei Kuhuna, the priestly garments, these special garments that have to be worn by the ordinary Kohanim and by the high priest when officiating in the Holy Temple. And of course, in our time, because unfortunately we have something of a spiritual disconnect from the concept of the Holy Temple and the central role that it fulfills for the life of Israel and indeed all of mankind, so we may come and examine these commandments in the Torah, study about these things, and be confronted with kind of a feeling of not really understanding what this is all about, hard to relate to. It's hard enough to try and relate to the concept of the Holy Temple in today's modern world. And what is this idea of these special garments that have to be worn really by the commandment of Hashem himself when these men, these descendants of Aaron, are officiating in his presence in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem? Well, we're all familiar with the expression, clothes make the man, and the fact is that here too, the office of the kuhuna, the office of the priesthood, is so much influenced by the concept of these holy garments, which are, as the verse tells us, for honor and glory, that indeed, according to halakha, according to Torah law, the Kohen, who might be a valid Kohen, a descendant of Aaron, if he is not wearing the garments of his office, if he's not wearing the priestly garments while officiating in the Holy Temple, indeed, he is considered like a non-Kohen, like an impostor, and his service is in fact invalid. So these garments have tremendous spiritual power, spiritual significance, and don't forget that the Kohanim, when they are serving in the Holy Temple, they are like representative of all of Israel and really a microcosm of all humanity. And the garments, by virtue of this unique process, have a powerful spiritual effect. Our sages teach us that one of the functions of the priestly service in the Holy Temple is to bring about a certain rectification of the relationship between man and God. It's a certain concept of tikkun, of repairing. After all, when a human being sins, there's really different levels of damage that are being done. There is the level of the actual physical damage which happened, which we can make restitution for. If something breaks, it can be fixed. But there's also the level of spiritual damage that has to be undone. And this is one of the effects that these priestly garments have. Indeed, in that respect, the Kohen perhaps could be seen as a repairman who is going into the very central nerve center of the whole world and bringing about some sort of realignment of the harmony and unity that we need to have amongst ourselves and in the world and in our relationship with God. So our sages teach us this really very fascinating concept that every aspect of the priestly garment brings about a certain kind of fixing, a certain kind of spiritual rectification, indeed an atonement for different areas of human failing and frailty. Our sages tell us that, for example, the Kohen who is bedecked with these garments, each aspect of his clothing represents a fixing of a different area of sinning. For example, the tunic is an atonement for acts of murder, of course, that are committed by all humanity. The pants atone for sexual immorality, the turban for haughtiness, the belt for improper thought, the breastplate for misjudgments, the ephod for idolatry, the blue robe for evil speech, and the golden crown upon the head of the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, for arrogance. Now, obviously, this teaching reflects very great mystery and the deepest secrets of the Torah, the significance of these garments, and the real cosmic theme behind God's command that the Kohanim, the descendants of Aaron who are serving in the Beit HaMikdash, wear these special garments. But at least on one level, we can appreciate this teaching, but it shows us again how much we really have to yearn and pine and appreciate the concept of the Holy Temple and how far we are from living life on the level for which we were really intended and for which the earth was designed, a level of such closeness, such wholesomeness, such a feeling of peace and harmony and tranquility in everything that we do. The Holy Temple is so needed by the Jewish people and by all of humanity because, and precisely because, it brings about this level of understanding, this level of wholeness, this level of fixing every aspect of a human being's life, and naturally every human being sins. We are not perfect, but the design of the Holy Temple and the design of the service of the Kohanim in the Holy Temple, when they're wearing their priestly garments, when they're bringing the offerings, and every aspect of their avodah, their tasks in the Holy Temple, brings about a state of perfection for humanity and brings about a fixing of the relationship between God and the entire world.